Joann Dunsing. This is Studio Access. Our guest today is Traci Weber. Traci is an innovative yogi. She is the founder of Walkabout Yoga and the author of Reclaim Your Wild, Strengthen Your Body, Nurture Your Soul, and Unleash Your Authentic Self on this 30-day Walkabout Yoga journey. Whew, that's a mouthful. Her work invites people to take yoga beyond the mat, off the mat, folks, and into everyday life. Before I welcome Traci to join this conversation, I'd like to share a short passage from the About the Author section of her book because it really speaks to the heart of her journey and the power of her practice, which is what I so want to convey today. It's not about the mat, folks. So, from the book, About the Author, innovative yogi and walkabout yoga owner Traci Weber credits yoga with saving her life. As a young adult, it gave her the sense of self needed to navigate her parents' painful divorce. And as a mother, the strength to deal with her 16-year-old daughter's potentially fatal brain tumor. Traci, welcome and thank you for being here.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Hearing you read that brings tears to my eyes.
Oh,
yeah. I'm so happy to be here to talk about yoga. So as I said in my book, yoga literally saved my life when I was a young girl. Lots of hardships growing up. And somehow or another, and I really can't remember how, I came upon a book by an author called Richard Hittleman. And the title is something like 28-Day Yoga Challenge, 28-Day Yoga Exercise Program. And this book was black and white, and each day it had a yoga pose. It had very little bit of yogic philosophy kind of sprinkled in. Mm-hmm. And when I found this book, I didn't know anything about yoga. So I was really looking at the asana, the postures, which is what I think most people come to yoga. That's the first thing that draws them into yoga is the postures and the exercise. So I started doing this. I would go up to my room, which is like the only place I felt safe, and I would do these postures.
Wait, how old were you?
I think I was 11 or 12. Yeah, I was pretty young. We were still living in Portchester, so yeah, I was probably 11. And I would read a little bit about the philosophy. There wasn't a lot, but I would just practice the poses, and it made me feel safe. There was lots of breathing exercises in it. Breath work is really important in yoga and in life. So I literally fell in love with the woman who was in the pictures in the book. Her name was Cheryl. She was beautiful, wore leotards. It was black and white, but she had blonde hair, and I desperately wanted to be her. Just her serenity, right? She was just a lovely person in these beautiful poses, and I just found it very interesting. So life continued on, and yoga went in and out of my life. We moved to Westport, Connecticut, and started school there. Did not fit in at all, was not welcomed in Westport at all. It was a really hard time, and I lost track of my yoga and did what 16-year-old kids do and started playing around with drugs and alcohol and just completely lost myself. And found yoga again. And again, it saved my life. It has helped me in more ways than I can express. I found yoga, the yogic philosophy, the 8 limbs of yoga is really the way to happiness. Right? It's a guide. It's a guidebook, a way to happiness, a way to treat yourself well, a way to walk in the world gently. And I decided to become a yoga teacher. Took my yoga teacher training in 2013, and decided that I really needed to share these gifts with the world. So here I am.
And indeed, you do share your gifts. Your classes are just illuminated with kindness and love and the flow.
Yeah.
The flow of the poses, the flow of the philosophy.
Well, it's so interesting that, like I said earlier, people usually come to yoga because of the postures. And as a yoga teacher, I sprinkle the philosophy in, just so that someone says, well, wait a second, there seems to be a little bit more to this than just the postures. The postures are a minute part of yoga. So in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, they talk about the postures one time. It's the sutras, I think, are either 198 or 189 like little tenets, like little yoga snacks, yoga gems of sort of how to live your life. And the only thing he says about the postures are, I'm paraphrasing, they should be easy and steady, and that's it. In the whole entire book about yoga, the postures are only mentioned one time, and I find that really interesting. So for me, being a teacher, whether I'm teaching hiking yoga or I'm teaching on the beach yoga, or if I'm teaching in my studio, I always pepper in a little bit of philosophy. And if one person goes, oh, wait a second, I want to know a little bit more about that, we can talk about it. Mm-hmm. And, it's just an invitation to be curious, right? So I decided during COVID, I had the opportunity to take my 300-hour yoga teacher training online, which was great. I learned a lot. COVID gave me the time to just explore, right? Gave me the time to research. And I decided in June of, I don't even remember, what was the year of the height of COVID? Was it
2020?
Was it 2020?
It hit in March 2020.
Yeah, so maybe that June, I decided to go camping by myself. I just needed to get out. I needed to be in nature. And as a young family, my husband and I and my daughter Camden, we would travel to the coast of Virginia, Shigatig and Assateague, just these two little barrier islands. And we would go camping there. So I decided to go by myself with my tent and my yoga mat. And I went there, and it brought up a lot of memories. It was really, I burst into tears actually when I went to check in. I was like, I used to come with my family. And it's changed a little since we went. It grew up a bit, but I set my tent up. I would practice yoga every day, just out in this field. The big, huge lighthouse was right there with the lights, just flashing around, and I had the best time. Riding my bike one day, I was thinking about how much more I can offer people yoga. Like, what else can I do? How can I get it out into the world a little bit more than just my little studio and stuff in Milford, Connecticut? And got back to my tent, and my friend Cindy Boynton sent me a text. So previously, I had given my students a challenge, a 30-day challenge for free, because I'm not a business person, I'm a yogi. And the challenge they would get every day, they would get a yoga pose and like a little activity, right? So Cindy sends me a text and says, how would you like to make that into a book? So the universe literally answered my question immediately, and I said, hell yeah. Sorry if I'm swearing. And I said, yeah, let's do it. So we wrote this book during COVID. Yeah.
That book. Can you show the viewers
I'd be happy
the cover?
to, yeah. So this is the cover of the book. This is my beautiful wild green lady who I just absolutely adore. And she just speaks volumes of reclaiming your wild. So yeah.
I love that cover.
Yeah,
Absolutely
it's a great cover.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I do too. Thank you.
How in the world yoga saved your life? Like twice. How in the world could yoga save one's life?
So yoga teaches us that, and this when I first heard someone say this to me, it was very disheartening. Life is about suffering. Mm-hmm. You're going to suffer in life. There's no chance that you're not. But yoga teaches us how to suffer better. Mm-hmm. right? It teaches us, gives us the tools to handle the different things that life throws at us. So when I was in my yoga teacher training, I had, in yoga, there are 8 limbs of yoga. And asana is only one of them. The postures are only one of them. One of the 8 limbs are the yamas and the niyamas. And these are ways that the niyamas, I call them miyamas, because they're how you treat yourself. It's about cleanliness and healthiness. The yamas are how you present yourself in the world. And you almost can think of them like the 10 Commandments, but even better, I'm just saying. So one of them is detachment, right? That's a niyama. And it's detachment. And I struggled so hard with that because I felt if I wasn't attached to something, it means I didn't care, right? So I struggled with that until about 5 months ago, honestly. Really, I know, and I've been practicing and teaching yoga for so many years, but that was one of the ones that I just didn't understand. And I was talking to a teacher friend of mine, and she said, well, it's not that you don't care, it's that you care deeply. And I was like, that is absolutely it. That is absolutely it. So I have learned one of the things is to detach myself from outcomes, right? Mm-hmm. Detach yourself from outcomes and detach yourself from what you think things should have been. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I don't care about how, I thought maybe my life would turn out. I care deeply about that, but I'm not attached to what that idea is. And maybe that idea comes from society, mm-hmm. right? Maybe it's a societal thing. So yoga gives us all these individual tools, and you just need to remember to practice it. So we were discussing earlier today how you can go to a yoga class, right? You can have a great yoga class. It could be a yin style class, a vinyasa class, yoga nidra, right? Which is, we love so much. But if you don't practice yoga in between each class, you're not really getting the benefit, right? So it's taking the yoga off the mat. Living your yoga, walking your yoga. And it's not always easy. I'm not saying that I'm like this perfect guru yoga. I'm not. In my opinion, I feel like yoga is this big and I know this much about it. So what's wonderful is I'm a student. Yes. I'm always learning. So I think it's really important to live your yoga.
Yeah, and that's where the philosophy comes in.
Correct.
That's one of the tools. So it's not about the physical body when you're living it because you're not on the mat, but it is about the physical body because it's about how you feel about yourself on the inside and how you're presenting yourself in the world. And that detachment, non-attachment, that is so liberating.
It is so liberating.
Because in that we are not attached to outcomes. And that allows those that we love, those that are around us to be free, to be who they are, because we're not shoulding them. Right. And in practice, because it takes practice, in practice, not shoulding ourselves, but allowing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, it goes so against,
it's
right?
so liberating to finally, and I really, again, I've been practicing yoga since I was 12. I've been teaching yoga for, since 2013, 2014. And like I just said, I'm still learning so much. And I have these moments of these aha moments. Mm-hmm. And I feel, I'm 62, right? Been through a lot. As I've said, yoga saved my life twice. But it's continuing to do it, which is what is so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And yoga is such a beautiful practice because yoga meets you right where you are, right? So say you're having a tired day and you still make your way to the yoga class and that's awesome, but you kind of just slow it down a little bit. Yoga says, yep, come here, I got you, right? Or if you're, you're tense about something, yoga says, yep, come here, let's breathe. Let's stop and take that breath. So yoga welcomes you no matter what, if you're a beginner, if you're a seasoned yogi, if you're just getting back onto the mat. and it allows you to be you, right? So I start many of my yoga classes by saying, check the ego at the door, right? The ego is what gets in the way. Check the ego at the door. And I have seen so many students just blossoming, and it's wonderful.
Oh.
It's really wonderful to see.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really wonderful.
When we can check the ego at the door, we can take off the cloak of should.
Right.
Because the shoulds are where our deep suffering comes in.
from. Yeah.
And there's the philosophy.
Right.
Because there will be suffering, because this is planet Earth, an imperfect planet, imperfect people
People,
doing
yeah.
all kinds of imperfect
Right,
stuff,
right, right.
But then we can come into a practice, a philosophy of life, and it teaches us how to live better.
How to live with some joy.
Yes.
Right? And we were talking earlier about having two different feelings at the same time about things.
Yeah.
So in yoga, this was something that I learned within the last year. In Sanskrit, there's a word called mudita, M-U-D-I-T-A, mudita. And there's no direct translation, but it basically means your joy is my joy. So if you think about it, I have lots of joy in my life. I also have sorrows, right? But I have lots of joy, and that's what I focus on. So if I now am joyful because of your joy, I am constantly living in joy, right? I know people have envy. I've been envious of things, right? But I check myself if I'm feeling those things. I actually, this necklace is rose quartz, and it's my mudita reminder. So it's a touchstone for me. So if I start feeling, excuse me, envy or any of that kind of stuff, I remember mudita and I say, nope, I'm happy for you. And that joy bubbles up in me. So there's so many little sort of, I like to call them yoga snacks or yoga gems like that, God, if you just jump into it, your joy and your happiness will really be abundant.
Yeah. And you use the words jump in, right?
Yeah.
You can look at a beautiful lake. You can look at a still lake, but you don't know what the water really feels like until you jump in and you experience it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
water is incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's the experience of the doing, that just jump in. And how can you not just jump in, because it is so welcoming.
Right.
It meets you
Right.
where you
Right.
are.
It meets you where you are. Yeah.
And yoga can be used in so many different ways. I mean, there's therapeutic yoga.
Oh, right.
There's recovery yoga.
Right. Absolutely.
There's chair yoga.
Yeah. There's all. It literally is for everybody.
Yes.
It literally is for everybody. Years ago, before COVID, I was working with a judge in New Haven. And she had, I can't quite remember exactly, but there was some program that she had for people who just came out of jail. And they had to sign up for this 12-week program, I think it was. And she would take them to different events, whatever. And one of it was yoga. They would come to yoga class. Yeah. And so I would go and I would teach yoga to these people, men and women that just came out of prison, that were trying to just sort of figure their lives out. So I would do breath work. I would teach them about breath work, and we would do some asana. And sometimes it was very funny, and sometimes it was very serious. So I talked to them a lot about breath work and how your breath can be your superpower, right? So meaning that if you're feeling rage or anxiety or whatever, if you just stop and just concentrate on your breathing, that beautiful inhale, the beautiful exhale, it'll shift, like your feelings will shift. So I taught that class, and then the next week I went back, and the judge said to me, Traci, his name was Angel. Angel wants to share a story with you. I was like, okay. I was excited about hearing this story. And he was a gigantic man, like 6'8", 300 pounds. He was just humongous, but an angel. He was a sweet man. And he said, Traci, I want to tell you, and he swore a lot while he was saying it, and I will refrain from doing that. He said, I was driving on 95. This guy cut me off and gave me the finger. And he said, my initial reaction was to chase him down and do him some harm. He said, but I held onto the wheel and I came to my breath. And I just focused on my inhale and my exhale. And I literally cried.
Oh.
Because that sums it all up. Right? So here I am teaching these men and women who, who knows what their background is, right? Who knows? And his initial reaction was to be filled with rage, but he stopped and he came to his breath.
That's right.
I mean, how powerful.
It's so powerful. And that's one of the tools to live the life.
Yeah.
Our breath is always with us.
Right.
Always
Right.
with us.
You're exactly right.
And whatever we focus on grows. So we focus on doing that road rage thing, we're going to have more of it.
That's right.
But he held the wheel.
Yeah, he did.
He held the
He
wheel.
did. And I hope he's still
did
doing
the breath.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I suppose so, because
so.
that is so, it's an aha moment. It's a, it's a swear word moment where it's
Exactly.
like, oh, look what I just did.
Look what I just did. Yeah.
Interrupted the habit, the pattern of a knee-jerk reaction to violence.
Right. The samskaras, right? Right? Those grooves. Yeah.
So tell our viewers what that word means.
So basically it's a cycle that you get into, and for example, with Angel, he was in a cycle of turning towards rage, right? And the more you do it, the deeper the groove gets.
Mm-hmm.
So these are just these sort of habits that you have. Am I saying that right?
Oh, yes.
So these habits that you get into. So say for example, you have a conversation with your spouse,
Mm-hmm.
and you always say, well, you did this and blah, 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 blah. Once you change that, everything changes. But you have to recognize that you have these samskaras. And sometimes they're, what's the word I'm looking for? Intergenerational? No, familiar.
Right, we can pick them up from our environment.
From our environment.
Download it into us as young
Correct.
children.
That's
we have
exactly
no
right.
awareness of
and you
it.
have no awareness of it at all. So noticing those and just stopping and breathing and changing the story changes everything.
Right? Knowing that you can choose differently, but you don't know that until you're presented
with an option.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you go, oh my gosh, my breath. I could just breathe.
Yeah.
I could just focus on my breath.
Then it's amazing. And your breath is always there. Like it's your portable superpower. You can take it wherever you want. And I think we do a disservice to our children that we don't teach them. If that's all you know about yoga, if that's all you do in your yoga practice is breathe, you've won.
Yes.
You've won.
Right.
So I think teaching children that is really important, to just slow down, take a second. They don't know how to deal. I didn't know how to deal with my anger, with my, anxiety or whatever, So you need to give tools.
Absolutely.
And just breathing. Although my grandmother would say, Traci, take a breath. So she did know, she was onto something back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's so true. There's that shift. A literal shift in energy, a shift in our physiology. It's like an immediate release of those stress hormones and bringing in more of what we need, the dopamine, the oxytocin, the serotonin, getting the blood back into the brain. So then we can better choose.
Make a better decision, right? Oh. Not out of anger.
Right.
Out of maybe out of compassion. I don't know. I mean, ooh, wow.
Yeah, or maybe just because it's a better option than the old one.
Than the old one, exactly. Right, because if you don't get off the hamster wheel, nothing is going to change.
Nothing. Nothing. And here's back to the attachment or the non-attachment or detachment, right? Non-attachment to outcome. I am going to choose to preserve my joy. I'm going to choose to walk in peace and kindness regardless of their behavior.
Yeah.
Because they get to choose and I get to choose. And it's not, well, I'm going to act this way so that one changes, because that doesn't work.
That doesn't work. No, that doesn't work. No. The only thing we can control is ourselves.
That's
right? So like you referred to before, what you feed grows.
Yeah.
Right? So I've decided to feed peace and compassion and calmness. And yoga helps me do that.
That's right.
Right? I couldn't have gotten here without that.
And this is the evidence of living the life.
Yeah.
It's not on the mat, and yoga's saving your life.
Yeah.
It's just, this is what I want to convey, is the life. It's not about the poses. It's not about the woman in the 70s in her leotards. And I'm over here looking at the clock, and it's like, oh my gosh, Traci, we could go on so much more. So I know, I was shocked. I don't know if my jaw dropped or not. But I can't thank you enough for coming here today and for sharing a life option that many people don't know, don't even realize, and the breath. The breath is always, always, always with us. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And viewers, thank you. Thank you for being here with us today. I really hope that you experienced the heart and the soul, and that you've picked up some options today that maybe you didn't have. We always have our breath. I'm Joann Dunsing. I look forward to welcoming you back right here, Studio Access, to some future shows. Thank you.